Internships, that rite of passage in grad school where we get to pay a lot of money to work for free. Hello, this is the Social Workers Bookshelf, and my name is Stephanie. Today we're going to talk about the internship process, things you need to look for in your programs, and the questions you need to ask. Remember, if you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe, and check me out on my Instagram. So the internship process is going to vary on the program that you look at. Some are a lot more structured, whereas other ones are a little bit more flexible. So what the structured process will look like is you will create sort of a wish list where you are going to write your interests, the agencies that you might want to work with, and the populations maybe you're not as interested in working with. This creates a better picture for your liaison officer or whatever the school may call that position to get a better idea of what you want from your internship. With that list, they will start calling agencies in your area and set up internship interviews. This can get a little interesting because sometimes you're not given a lot of notice for these interviews. Other times they'll work with your schedule where you can kind of set up a time to get those interviews done. A few cons with this program is if you are in a rural area or an area that your school doesn't have connections with, they may really struggle with trying to find agencies that are willing to take interns. Another thing with this is if you have limited options, either your area, again, is rural or you have multiple schools in your area, so internships are harder to come by, you might not get a choice in your internship and you might get whatever that liaison officer can give you, which can result in internships you might not want to be at. With a more flexible option, you are the one that's responsible for securing that placement, either by doing cold calls or by using those professional or personal connections in the community to help find the right placement for you. This can sometimes include a little more or a little less support from your liaison officer, again, depending on the program that you have. Sometimes they completely let you roll with it and you just let them know what you got going on, or they kind of help you through that process where they're reminding you, they're wanting to know what interviews you have set up and the outcome of them, and they're connecting also with the person that you interviewed with to see how they felt about the student. And that's a really awesome connection that you can make with the liaison officer and those supervisors to really feel supported in this process. Some of the cons with that is if you are not from the area that you are trying to find your internship, some of those connections can be really hard to make, or some people are really uncomfortable with cold calls. So that's something that might not be what you're comfortable with if you don't have those natural connections or those professional connections maybe you made while you're working. So when looking at potential social work programs, here are some questions you might want to consider asking. Your internship is such a huge portion of that coursework, and that's going to drive what your interest is and your passion for this program. So you want to make sure that you have a good experience doing it. The distance that you're required to travel to get to your internship. This can vary on programs that you have. Some may have it in their policy manual that you may have to travel up to 2 hours to get to your internship. That's something you may want to ask if you are not willing to travel that far, or if you know that there's agencies within your closer area that you can work at. Another question to ask is if you're able to work during your internship. Some schools are not tailored for that and they really discourage against that. Other schools really encourage you to work while you're interning. Paid internships, they're out there. But is the school okay with it? That's something you're going to want to ask about is if you do come across one, do you have to do extra paperwork or are you going to have to deny that internship? Another possibility sometimes is doing your internship at your place of work if it fits in that realm of social work. That will at times require a different supervisor or different work tasks and a little bit more paperwork, but some programs do allow it. And the last question you may want to ask is, do you get to pick and choose those populations that you want to work with, as well as the social work internship kind of job that you want to do, whether it's more clinical or policy? You want to see if you get that final opportunity to figure out the internship that you want to do. So internships are a huge deal. Before you select a program, you need to dive deep, ask questions, and advocate for yourself to get the experience that you want. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know in the comments below what questions you wish you would have asked about internships before you selected your program. And stay tuned to watch more videos in this series.